Hey guys, so thanks for checking out those shortcut videos. Don't worry if it doesn't sink into your head straight away. After you've made 1 or 2 wedding films, it'll become second nature. As you're getting used to it, as I say, maybe print them out and then make 1 or 2 films. You're going to use those keys hundreds of times and it will just sink in to your subconscious naturally, so don't worry about it too much. There's still a few other key features I need to show you before you can crack on and make your first edit without confusing yourself. So let's have a look now. Let's get back to the edit page. So look, here is an adjustment clip. We can find it in effects, adjustment clip, bring one on. And here we can apply a crop top and bottom. If you want to make your little cinematic black lines over your whole video, you can do it all in one step like that. And guys, just remember, select that. If you need to reposition the y-axis, you can do it here. Besides that, don't forget to enable your proxies. You can put them here, prefer proxies, make sure that's on. You can also do that in playback, proxies, prefer proxies. Don't bother with optimized media. Go for proxies, they're more powerful and faster to use. Workspace, you've got an option here for dual screen and video clean feed. Currently I've got a video clean feed putting over to my laptop here, so I can see what I'm working on a little bit bigger. I've got a nice 4K Pantone laptop screen there, which is useful. It's not super important for me now when I've got my big screen here, but if I'm traveling, it's nice to have the laptop and then a second screen where I can see the video clean feed. That's a ProArt monitor. This is a ViewSonic monitor. That's an Aero monitor. They've all got Pantone screens, so they should be color accurate. Now, let's have a look. The other option is dual screen. So dual screen gives you 2 screens. You've got like a media and you've got your standard workspace. Let's switch these around by going over to view to primary display. So right, if you want a dual screen setup, you can have that. I don't find it particularly useful because, especially on the coloring side, it puts my vector scopes on the other screen and I like to have everything on one screen. So I would much rather use a video clean feed if I have 2 screens. If you've got 3 screens, you could consider it, but I generally wouldn't necessarily recommend it, again, because I like to have the vector scope here so I can see the image in more detail by looking at this. Alright guys, so I want to show you a couple of extra functions. The first one is stabilization. Let's pull that up here. So sometimes if you're hand holding, you may have a slightly wobbly shot. You see there's a little bit of camera shake. I'm manually focusing and hand holding. And guys, there's a few options for stabilization. Have a look at the window here. We've got perspective. This is the default mode. It adjusts the image angles based on pan, tilt, zoom, and rotation. Similarity always keeps the aspect ratio, otherwise it's the same as perspective. And translation is essentially looking at pan and tilt and nothing else. We've also got a camera lock option, which I find is quite useful if you are basically, you've got a shot which is quite steady and you want to kind of lock it off like a tripod. Camera lock will do its best to just keep everything completely static and it locks off all the other options. You also want to have zoom enabled on. Zoom stops any black bars getting in the video, so we should have zoom on at all times. So let's hit stabilize. we go. Another sample here. I was hand holding this bit. So let's hit stabilize, and look, we can crop in a little bit more. There we go. All right, guys, so stabilization, it can be tricky, guys. I'm sorry to say, it's not a perfect thing, especially if you're moving your camera around a lot. It's going to struggle. So always do your best to keep it as steady as possible when you're recording. But if it's not come out perfect, have a look at that stabilization and probably try camera lock first, and especially if it's like a solid sort of tripod-y shot, that will often get you the best results. But it can sometimes introduce a bit of like jelly looking stuff, so have a play. Sorry if it doesn't work out, guys, but it's there. Have a go. Okay, guys, let's have a look at a few more features that maybe were a little bit confusing to me when I first started. So one of those is the ability to cut through multiple clips. So say we are stacking a few clips. And I was confused as to why, if there was not like a single button which could cut through everything. And guys, so if I've got one clip selected at the top and I press E or razor, it's just going to cut through the first one. I'm going to undo that. But now look, if I'm not selecting anything, I press E, it cuts through everything. So it depends what is selected that gets cut. And if nothing's selected, it goes through everything. If you press the first one and you cut, and you keep pressing E, it's going to cut through everything again. So that's a function of the razor which confused me for a bit, because I wanted to know how to cut through everything straight away. And that's how you do it. Okay, so remember what we said about keeping the timeline resolution in HD to keep everything running smooth. You can also hit to use vertical resolution here. And that might be useful if you want to make like an Instagram or Facebook vertical video. That might be a little bit too steep, so I might normally try 2000 by 3000, something like that. And also, actually, if you want to keep it faster, you could go 1000 by 1500, and you've still got that aspect ratio. So let's say some effect I might want to do. See, feet. Shrink one of these down. So I've got the video in the middle and the large behind it. You could also import some black rectangle like this. I can press Alt and down to move a clip up and down. That's a useful one. Here's a black rectangle. Let's pull this out. Let's change the zoom. All right, guys, so we've made a little start on an Instagram clip. I want to show you a couple of features. I'm using in and out on my mouse, actually. I'm just going to show you this mouse. This is a Logitech 3. This is a Logitech MX Master S3. It's quite a famous mouse because it's got all these extra buttons and wheels that you can program to your favorite shortcut. So yeah, I can use that to zoom in and out. I can use it to go across the timeline like that. and it's got gestures, so I can even program it to cut through everything, just my mouse, and also perform a few of my favorite edits. So Logitech MX Master 3S, if you want some of that functionality, quite useful. Anyway, so I want to pull in a film I made before. Now this one has been rendered already, so it's just one solid film. But say I just want a few clips, I can press in and out, then head over to timeline and hit detect scene cuts. And now guys, that's going to go through the clip for me and add cuts whenever the scene changes. That's quite a useful function. I'm going to press Alt-IO to get rid of my timeline bar. And I can take a few of those clips, add them to my little Instagram video here. So I can render that out if I like. And don't forget guys, we can add a bit of text. And I just wanted to show you, if you hit settings in text, you can move it up and down and change the size. You've also got shadow, background, stroke. Insta wedding. And then we can head over to render, which is this shuttle at the bottom. And now we're in the render page. We've got a few options here in the top left. So if you're exporting to Vimeo or YouTube, you can choose here, say 4K Vimeo, and it's going to choose good settings for that. You can also directly upload to your Vimeo if you log in. Put your file name in here, sample wedding Insta. Hit add to render queue. Oh look, it's warned me add high resolution. So because I didn't change my settings here, I'm still in this sort of half resolution. It's not going to work out. So let's put it into 2000 by 3000, save. So I may need to do that as a custom export because Vimeo wants me to do it in a 4K or HD timeline. So let's make that as a custom export. So Insta wedding. Resolution, we can put that as 2000 by 3000 now. And we can choose a few settings here. Guys, if you have subtitles, you can include your subtitles here, press export and choose burn into video. But we've not got subtitles, so nothing to worry about. Then hit add to render queue and then hit render. And so it's whizzing through that. No problems. We've also got an H.264 master if you want to do a very high definition video that you can then re-edit, or if someone wants it the maximum resolution. But guys, those can be like 30 gigabyte files when they're done, but they can look really, really good. And actually, I recommend if you're doing like a promo ad and you're going to bring that to a wedding fair and have a screen like this, like a professional coloring screen, go for that setting because it will make the videos look absolutely perfect. But for most of the time, we can use Vimeo 4K when we're uploading online, and then you can upload directly to Vimeo. It's just not working for this video because it's an Instagram resolution. So guys, I hope that helps. I know we did go through that fairly quickly, so you may want to watch through this video again, but I just want to keep these as short and sharp as possible so you can move on and start editing your films and start making money as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. We're going to be moving on to color very soon. I know you're excited for it, and me too.